Hi, this is Rob with Federal Finance CPE. Have you ever wondered what the difference is between the various budgetary reports that you see in your workspace? Well, have no fear. By the end of this discussion, we're going to go into each report, talk about the purposes of each one, what they're comprised of, and who makes them, and how they fit in to your work that you do every day. Before I get started, I really want to say thank you to one of our listeners who proposed this idea. While I can create these trainings based on what I think of, nothing excites me more and gets me more pumped than hearing requests from you all. So please just reach out to info@federalfinancecpe.com and I'll put your idea on the list, and who knows, maybe the next video I make is exactly what you suggested. So let's get started for our agenda today. Across these videos, we're going to cover the purpose of budgetary reporting. We're going to talk about the key reports that you're going to encounter, and then we're going to talk about some of those reconciliations that you'll see at the various agencies, and we'll wrap up overall what we discussed. So first step, what is the purpose of budgetary reports? Now, in my understanding, in my own words, budgetary reports, they're just a way of the government of showing how money is approved, how it is controlled, how it's dispersed, and how it's reported back to both Congress and the public. So if you wanted to actually see a flow, if you will, of budgetary information, it all starts at the legislative branch when Congress approves an appropriation. Now, this information is sent to the executive branch, where the Office of Management and Budget ends up parsing out the information from the appropriation and controlling spending down to its agencies. But it doesn't stop there. So through these various reports, the agencies report back to OMB on the status of how much they've actually executed on that budget. And ultimately, the results at the end of the year, agencies actually produce their own financial statement that shows the status of their budgetary resources that they've been following all year long. So how is the information shared? Well, I teased it a little bit, and there's three main budgetary reports. We have the SF-132, which is an apportionment and reapportionment schedule. We have the SF-133, which is a report on budget execution and budgetary resources. And we have the SBR, which is a Statement of Budgetary Resources. Now, I want you to remember who's responsible for what. So the SF-132, the apportionment and reapportionment schedule, this is created by the Office of Management and Budget. This is an apportionment schedule, so it's apportioning funds out to the agencies. So an appropriation is created by Congress, and then OMB apportion the funds based on the various budget authority that's in there to the different agencies, telling them what to spend and when. Now, the SF-133 and the SBR, those are created by agencies themselves. They are essentially reporting back up to the Office of Management and Budget and the public what they've been doing, how are they spending it, based month by month. And then the SBR, it only really comes publicly available once a year in the annual financial statements of the agencies. How do these budgetary reports relate to each other? Well, you'll see at this table on the left, you'll see the various sections that are in all three of the reports, which are listed on the top of the table. There are some overlap across the various reports. For example, budgetary resources. All three reports are going to state budgetary resources, but that is the only area that overlaps entirely across the three reports. As we move down, you have your status of budgetary resources, which the 133 and SBR have in common. Then you have change in obligated balance and budget authority and outlays, the net effect, which are only reported in the 133. Now we have the outlays, the net outlays and net disbursements combined is only in the SBR. You have your memorandum entries in your 133, and then you have the application of budgetary resources and guaranteed loan levels and applications only in the 132. This is important to know because while these reports are different, they do share some of the same information, and at the high level, they should be able to agree at the budgetary resources and various stages. All right, that brings us to the end of today's discussion. Looking forward, we're going to have videos on each individual budgetary report, so the SF-132, the SF-133, and SBR. And we're also going to talk about some of those reconciliations you perform, part of your internal controls over financial reporting. As always, thank you for listening, and please subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on federal accounting training.